welcome back. FUBAR here, and today we have an exciting topic. And today I am not alone. We have a newcomer that I want you all to meet. His name is Scopes. Take it away, Scopes. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're all having a beautiful new year now. Hope you're all having a beautiful new year.
Yes, we both wish you a happy new year. And as you can see right here, we are on Scopes' account. And now, what I want to show you guys right here is that his name is More Scopes. He actually has two YouTube channels. If you are a COD player, go check him out. He was a legend in the very first Warzone. He's still a legend today. He literally carried me through 3 matches and my sons. Thank you for that, Scopes, by the way. So check him out. He is awesome. All right. But today we're going to be talking about Warpath and our favorite officer pairings per troop. So let's start this off right away. What is your favorite unit right now, Scopes?
My favorite unit has to 100% be the artillery. Without a doubt, I'm definitely a base-to-base artillery person. What about
All
yourself?
right. For me right now, I'm actually kind of loving the infantry because I was Army infantry, so I got to represent. I'm running Liberty infantry. I'm
Okay.
kind of loving it. But before that, I was all in on the Liberty heli. So it's been a lot of fun. My little experience in Warpath, because before the heli, I was on the medium tank, like a lot of people before the modern update.
For sure.
So, what is your favorite officer pairings for the Liberty artillery that you have in base?
So let's jump over. So for me, I must go with it's gonna be I. The moment this guy came out, I was surprised he wasn't an exclusive lounge officer with the amount of raw damage he just provides to the base destruction. Now, of course, with the Liberty howitzer that is designed mainly for sieging bases, it's definitely strong against units. Don't get me wrong. But when you think of the Liberty howitzer, you know that thing's going to come and knock on your door at the base. So what better officer pairing than to have Eye of Providence, which is the #1 base destruction officer on the game. Up until recently, I've paired obviously Argent Flame with him, but I did used to have the standard old Antonina. As a free-to-play player, these beautiful officers down here are looking, mighty hard to get hold of. But maybe one day we'll see her, make a mix into it, but it's going to take a while. But of course, you can't go wrong with a bit of Eye of Providence in my eye. He's the #1.
For me right now, I have a Marder howitzer. I am absolutely in love with Antonina Shevchenko. And I don't use Eye of Providence because I don't have him awakened, but I do almost have awakened Saber of the Nation.
For sure, yes.
And that's the one I've been using because I've been using him more so for base defense than more of an offense. And everyone knows Marder Howitzer does the least structure damage, so that's the reason why for my pairing. And honestly, I actually want to swap out Saber of the Nation for Eye of Providence and take his third tactical skill. Not tactical, third skill right here. Yes, that skill, and put it on there just so it'll be still very efficient in combat against troops.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I have heard a very good combination, though. Although you are going to lose out on, that extra 1 range from Antonina. But if you have Eye mixed in with Saber of the Nation, it's one of the most powerful combos at the moment. Because obviously, with Saber of the Nation's ultimate here, where he has a 30% chance of dealing that skill damage, every time you hit a base, you're still going to be getting that 40% increase from Eye on his ultimate, so you're going to be doing even more damage than with Saber of the Nation being one of the most, strongest officers. So it's a really good pairing, even if you but it does mean you got to sacrifice Antonina, obviously, but, you never know, that could
Yes.
call onto something else. You could use one of her skills like, skill damage, or, maybe garrison buff if you get attacked offline quite often.
Well, actually, right there, if I was going to run that actual pairing right there, Saber of the Nation with Eye of Providence, I would actually stack Eruptor's fortification buff with Iron Bastions on the two, and then that way you're getting a double fortification damage buff on
That is
top of
true.
that, and just making it even more potent.
Now, that
That
is very true, and I've actually done the testing. I can actually confirm I've done the testing with fortification damage. Now, fortification damage is definitely one of the higher damaging, coefficients. I don't want to call it a coefficient because it's just a raw percentage, but it's definitely one of the higher, more, versatile skills to have. But the thing is, I said versatile, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word here. It's raw damage. It generally does add a lot more raw damage when it comes to the fortifications, obviously. But what you are going to miss out on is your units. You're not going to be able to really. You're missing out a whole entire skill for a unit. So if you do use your Howie for nothing but attacking bases, like you don't use it ever when defending, you don't really, then I can understand it. But for me, like if you're using that fortification damage, half of the fighting is units, and you are going to be, lackluster in that area. But of course, as you said, you do want to mix it with some other skills. So there could be pros and cons to it. But 100%, I do agree with you. It is a very good skill to have if you're just trying to siege bases. 100%.
No, you nailed it right on the head, and that was perfect. So we're gonna go on to our next unit. What unit is your next favorite unit?
Oh, this is a hard question for me. So it's definitely going to be my helicopter. It's definitely going to be my second favorite. But it's a close contender to my fighter. I think I generally love the fighters. I mean, they're used everywhere, and of course, I'm not in the biggest alliance, so I'm not in those epic battlefields where you see hundreds of fighters around. So for me, where it's when you have the fighter and the engagements of the air units, it's a lot less. It's more the 1-on-1, 2v1 rather than 50v50. So for me, I really
Absolutely.
thoroughly enjoy using my air units, which is my fighter. That might have to be
Yeah.
close second.
So what officers do you like running on your fighter?
There's only, let's be honest, FUBAR, there is only one pairing, and it has to be good old. I can't even remember his name now. It's been a while. Bladewing and Silver Comet. I mean, there are some close contenders. You got Polar Phantom. He's pretty decent. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about the others, I don't think, because I feel like these three personally are the only three that you could really want to use. And when I say three, I mean this one. He's definitely going to be the best officer. I personally think number one. But then, like, close second, these two do get very close. But I'm still going to have to go for Silver Comet over Phantom personally. Even without, because I know with his fourth skill, his Awoken skill, you do need to have his brother in your army group, which is going to be, as you can see here, it's going to be Tip of the Spear, to get that extra 10% damage. But even if we remove that 10% damage, I still think he's better than Polar Phantom, personally. What about you? What's your favorite air unit and officers?
Right now, I love my Vanguard fighter. My Vanguard fighter right now is like 3 refined components from being 9.0, and I'm
Oh,
super excited for that. Yeah, that anticipation is killing me. Right now, I actually run Bladewing with Polar Phantom on that.
oh. So me and you are
And
like bang on almost. Like we're just contending for that second officer right there. What's the
but right
reason you
now,
went for Polar? Oh, right now. So you thinking of changing?
oh, I am changing that. I am changing that. Now I'm going to tell you who I'm changing it to. I'm actually changing it to Silver Comet
Let's go.
eventually. But here's why. I'm going to
Okay.
explain why. Because my setup is going to be 2 fighters, 1 bomber.
Hmm.
And if you go over to Polar Comet, I mean, a Polar Phantom, he is all about offense. And he has his literal twin in the game, but polar opposite, which is Nagarami. So for my Liberty fighter that I'm going to be building, which is the Jack of all trades fighter plane, I'm going to put them together on that unit so I have defense and offense mixed together,
For sure.
which would be make a very potent combo, and then Silver Comet is going to be on with Blade Wing on my Vanguard fighter, just because I want that high intercept, that high damage. And Tip of Spear is actually going to be actively used in my base.
That's perfect. That's what I do. I have him on a spare unit right now.
Well, I use Tip of Spear as a defensive officer. He's not really that great in open field fighting, but he does buff units. So for garrison damage, that is awesome.
100% agree.
But if I'm going to be going on the defense, that's when I'm also deploying my fighter because I'm retraining. So I'm switching out my officers constantly. So that's where that becomes handy. So I actually agree with you on your officer pairing for the fighter plane. So I think you said your next favorite unit was your helicopter.
Agreed. Yes, I am loving the heli. I mean, it's one of those things. Like if you know the brand new Operation Hegemon that's just came out. Obviously that's geared towards fast units, right? Now,
Yes.
if that wasn't geared to fast units and you could have your because like you can't run your favorite setup in there, but the reason I just brought this up is purely based on the fact that you can choose whatever unit you want. I'm not too sure if you've played it yet, but you could literally every single unit is 7.2. You can modernize any unit you choose, so you could technically build your dream setup. And I was just trying to think to myself, like, what it would be my dream setup and the officer pairings with it. And it's a lot of work. There's so many different options. But the helicopter, I think, right now is close contender with the light unit. That light tank is beautiful. It's just I don't have it, unfortunately.
Well, the light tank is very good for guerrilla warfare, and so is the helicopter. We can't deny that. But where the light tank shines and the helicopter does not is that it's the hard counter to the helicopter, and also it is the fastest moving unit on the battlefield.
That is true.
But now, before we get off topic, my personal favorite helicopter pairings are Valkyrie and Golden Eagle.
Agreed. That's what I have.
I love Valkyrie and Golden Eagle together. It's an unstoppable pairing. Valkyrie with that damage resist, that sundered armor effect. Oh my god, that does so much damage. The load time reduction. I mean, oh my god, and the damage for Golden Eagle and that extra armor damage. You can almost destroy a MBT unit or a SH unit like in 4 seconds. Doesn't matter the power level. You can just demolish.
Well, believe it or not, the lower your heli is compared to the super heavy, you're actually going to deal more damage because at that point you're going to be hitting every shot as a penetration shot, which will then make you deal an extra 150 percent damage. So technically, as a unit, if you're attacking a super heavy that's a stronger power than you, you're going to do more damage than attacking a unit that's the same power as you.
You are 100% correct. It does increase your chance of penetrating way more, and that is 100% true. That is your silver grace in the lighting. Now, I think we're gonna go on to the MBT. I do see one in your ranks, and I do know that's probably one of your popular units to use for base defense. What pairings do you like to use for that?
For base defense, so for base defense, it is definitely going to be obviously having Thorn Countess because she does provide the base with a shield. Not only does she provide the base with a shield, but her aid actually, she will steal her aid's shield if her aid has one. So that's why I like to pair with Steel Fighter, because again, Steel Fighter also offers us garrison protection, as well as then getting the shield connected with Thorn, so you get a double shield there. It's very, very powerful. although as you can see, and you did state it is on my MB currently, I will be switching it out to put it on a heli because I know, again, Mag's gonna kill me for saying this, but the MB is useless at the moment. It will make a comeback. I don't want to wait for that
Yeah.
though. So right now, I find when tanking a base, the helicopter actually is better at tanking right now. Not only is it better at tanking, but attacking, it's also much stronger at attacking. So would I rather have a 20 mil MB that's tickling the enemy, or a 20 mil heli that's actually gonna, do a little bit of damage at least? So I think I am gonna end up swapping this out for a second helicopter, and I'm gonna run the double heli with the Howies instead of having the MB. But I do have obviously the 7.2 if I ever want to go back to it.
For me, I completely agree with you with your defensive pairing there, but for me, I did invest a little bit of money on my account in the beginning of the game, and I have Guardian of Truth Awakened. I absolutely love them, but I do not like wasting my money, so I still use them. If I had to do this from an S tier down to an F tier list on officers, today, Guardian of Truth is still S tier. Can you please pull him up so
Yes,
we
for
can
sure.
so we can show this real quick? Because a lot of people don't understand this. Is that
Where is
Guardian
he?
of Truth? He's a little bit up, right there, but next to Salvin.
There he is.
If you pull up his tactical, if he's on a tank troop, he does 25% more damage. So if you actually calculate that, right, 25% divided by 4, that means he has a 300 damage coefficient that he's going to gain, and that still puts him up at 1500 damage coefficient. So I like to run him with Whipcracker on my MBT. The reason why is because together they'll actually have a 50% damage resist just between the two of them before you even add it on to your onto your MBT for additional. You're already at 50. Now, if you take Lady Justice's 20% and Argent Flames 20% damage resist, then you're at 90. Then if you add your camp buff and your other research, you can have ridiculous damage resist with just that 2 officers, and that's huge. Plus Whipcracker, she gives 1500 damage. She retrains your troops faster, increases the mobility, and she gives you this sweet 400 shield coefficient every time you enter combat. So that means when you enter combat, it doesn't mean when you engage, excuse me,
Bless you.
it means when you also get engaged. So if an artillery pops out and wants to hit you, you automatically get that shield protecting you for that one shot, so that way you can get away or engage and get close enough before their next shot. So that's just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, she honestly, she's one of these officers. I remember when she first came out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have any of her skills changed in the slightest, like even a little
Mm,
bit, or has she remained 100% the same?
I think she's remained 100% the same.
Okay. Now, I remember when I first looked at her and I was like, I wasn't impressed. I was like, she has a good damage coefficient. I just, for some reason, when I first looked at it, I didn't think she was too good. But now, obviously, I've reread over it, gone through absolutely everything. And, definitely 100% she's one of the better officers right now. But I don't know what for some reason my initial thought was she isn't that great, but 100% she's definitely coming back to be one of the better officers, if I'm honest with you. But she reminds me of Svarlin, and I don't know if I'm correct in saying this. I feel like if you want to go pure, because she's a mix between defense and offense, right? She has a bit of
Yes.
both. But if obviously when it comes to just pure defense, this is your man,
Yeah, exactly.
But he also does have one skill that provides an insane amount of damage. So, again, there's so many officers choosing, and a lot of people are upset about the fact there's so many officers now. But I think especially with this, the additional skill training, it just provides so much variety and versatility that you can apply to all your officers. And I think that in general, I really am enjoying the fact that there's so much variety to choose from because there's so many different creations that people are making.
That is 100% true. And but here's the thing: there's going to be a lot more officers added to the game because you cannot fully fill out your entire roster with both officers completely skill tabbed out all the way down. So there's going to be more officers coming to the game. We just don't
Correct.
know what.
Yeah.
But we're starting the drift again, and we're going to get right back to it. The light tank. We're going to discuss the light tank. If
Yes,
you
sir.
could run any two officers on it, what would you run and why?
Oh, now it's one of those things. On paper and on actual reality are two different things. So for sure, you got to have Rapier. He's the newest officer out, believe it or not. So, you would think he's the strongest. Well, he is the strongest. He's absolutely insane. The damage he provides, even with all the additional firepower. Obviously, this is catered to a light tank. You get that extra 20%. It's honestly one of the best officers to come out for the light tank so far. Now, who would I personally pair with him? I've seen Thorn Countess be doing some absolute numbers with him. I believe I even saw Mag done some testing, and she was one of the better officers. But like, if I didn't know any better, I personally would have put maybe would have put probably Eagle with him. But I'm going to have to go with Thorn right now. I think Thorn is going to be the better option. But on paper, I would have thought he would have been my favourite two pair. But then that coincides with, the heli. It depends what you want to have. What about you?
Honestly, for me, I agree with you on Rapier, but I would actually go with Lady Justice.
Lady Justice. I thought you'd go with her.
The reason why I wanted to go with Lady Justice is because the damage increase when her tactical skill goes off, and also that speed increase. That that right there is just phenomenal. Where our light tank's all about speed, and the once that helicopter I'm going after is trying to take off running, or that RL or that artillery unit, I can catch it, and
Agreed.
that's the hardest thing in the world. When you got something that has a head start on you and you got to catch it, and with helicopters and that freedom of movement on terrain, you need to be able to catch it. You need that extra speed to get those extra shots off. But the OG pairing, which is also good at doing this, and is still kind of effective because I still see it being used, is actually Winter Huntsman and Bloody Mary. And those
Yes,
two are still very potent because they do a complete stun lock, and it is awesome.
I agree. I do agree that they're a very OG pairing, but for
Mm.
me personally, I do think that they do lack that, the coefficient. You only get 1,000 from her, and you only get 1,300 from him. So again, as a free-to-play player, and they're very easy to get these statues because you gain these statues through the not campaign, sorry, through the officer missions, and you can get his statues through the level 4 conquest events. So for an officer, they are very easy officers to obtain. So 100% I agree with you. For someone who is a free-to-play player, this is going to be a very, almost a very overpowered start to your light tank. If you are going to be a light tank runner, these are definitely going to be a
Hmm.
very good start for you until you eventually manage to get Rapier and maybe an additional officer, whether that be, Lady Justice, or, any one of your choosing, maybe Thorn or anything like that. But for, as you were saying, to start off with, Bloody Mary and Winter Huntsman's definitely going to be a 100% go down route for the light tank.
But you're also forgetting one little factor: skill tab system. We can actually effectively put double the skill damage onto the officer pairing, and that will fix the damage coefficient on the skill tabs
For
with
sure.
just using the skill tabs. But that's a totally different vine path that we're going to go down.
Yeah,
If you
we could be
were
on there
running an
for a
infant,
while.
yeah, we would be going down that grapevine a very long time, and that's something we got to cover in a different video. Um, if you were running infantry, who would you choose to run, and why?
See, here's the thing. Because infantry have only very recently, made a bit of a comeback. For me, I haven't studied them well enough. I don't want to say that, I've obviously looked at them. I've checked out every single one, and I still find that it obviously works because let's be honest, when you run into an infantry in the field, you run away. You can't kill that thing. That thing's it's strong. There is no
Yeah.
ifs or buts. But when on paper, maybe you can agree with me. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. But on paper, the skill sets really do seem lackluster compared to those offensive. I know that this is technically a defensive unit, but like even when you think of other defensive units, like for example the tank one, you've got I'm going off track here, but you've got Thorn, you've got Steel Fighter, and all of these other ones that provide Whipcracker with such pure defense. I still find that these do seem like they don't offer too, like 10% HP buff on the newest officer out. Doesn't seem like a big boost to me. Like I would have thought that 20 or 30% is where they need to be at. So, but again, whenever I do come up against an infantry, I can't kill it. So maybe I'm not thinking into it enough. But I would definitely say
Well,
Everbloom is going to be your main one you need.
for me, I'm actually going to be awakening Everbloom in the
Okay.
future and Lonesome Star. But I do have an infantry, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's a juggernaut. I'm running a Liberty infantry, and like I had said, and the Liberty infantry with White Wolf and Golden Eagle is a very potent pairing, especially in a 1v1 scenario, or even in a route against a rally, because 9 out of 10 times it's helicopters, MBTs you're going up against, or light tanks, and it shreds right through it because everything in that rally has armor. And with White Wolf throwing out those AoE grenades, that is so useful. So like H's game had said, White Wolf and Lonesome Star would be the king of the battle for AoE damage, but I'm more interested in Everbloom and Lonesome Star because where she's defensive and he's offensive, they actually provide cover effects for your allies' troops. And that's where I lack as Liberty infantry because I only get a smoke screen. I can now provide that between Lonesome Star and also Everbloom,
So
which is huge.
is this guy an offensive? I think the only offense is just purely this, right? Which is the damage
Yeah,
coefficient. And then
exactly.
you also obviously have the skill damage buff of 30%, which this is a beautiful, beautiful skill here. Absolutely amazing. But
Yeah.
if if anyone's been watching any of the videos recently, they should know that maybe the skill damage buffs are not working correctly. Um,
Yes, exactly.
but if it is working, that this is going to be obviously a very, very good officer to have, and I do know that most people are going to have Everbloom, and I'm guessing this guy as well. Um, for me, do you want to know the only reason I don't have infantry? It's the research. Obviously, research is the only reason because, like, if you think of it, with howitzer, you've got the Howie, you got the rocket launcher, you've got the ATG. With the tanks, you
Uh-huh.
got the light, you got the heli, you got the MBT, right? And the super
Right.
heavy. Infantry is just infantry. You've got to do all of that work for one unit, whereas with the others, you can do all of that research and you can swap and change between multiple units and still have that ability to have the research there for you. And I feel like there's
What
so much you've got to do for infantry.
there is a lot you got to do for infantry, but there's a sweet little caveat that you're forgetting about. It's that 10% extra damage for base and troop that applies to all troops, not just infantry, and the damage resist for base and troop again. So if you max out all the way on advanced combat, just advanced combat, we're not going to talk about modern combat because it's in there too. You get 50% if you max out that entire tree
For sure,
for
but I
damage resist and
100% agree with
damage.
you. But that's also like it's especially as a free to play player. You got to remember, as a free to play player, I mean, I've been playing for 2 years and I've only just got my first advanced, my first advance, and I'm only halfway on my second. So like, just that
Yeah,
alone, having to go through 3 trees, it's gonna take a long time to get all of those available. You know?
I'm only a little bit further ahead of you, only a little bit, right? And I'm almost at the bottom of two. I got one tree done, and I'm almost done with two other trees. And I'm a very light spender, just
Yeah,
like you. I only spend 35 a month. I
yeah, I'm
buy
a
the
little less than that.
$10 a month extra research queue from the arms deal, the battle pass, and also one Indomitable Force pack. That's it. That's all I spend. And yeah, like my infantry tech right now, I'm all the way down at the end. I'm literally researching the damage and damage resist, and the same thing with my artillery tree.
So you're referring to this
Um,
here, right?
yes.
So, but this is 10%, right? If I'm not mistaken. So if I go here,
Yep.
yeah. So you only get 10%. It's not you get 10% troop and base damage resist, then
Yep.
10% troop and damage resist. But you mentioned 50%. Am I missing
If you
something?
max out all the trees, if you max out all of them, even in plane, there's 20%.
Oh, okay,
There's
okay. No, no,
two.
my. I thought you meant in infantry you get 50%. My bad, my
No.
bad. Okay, bit of misunderstanding there. But oh no,
Hmm.
eventually, 100%, I'm gonna go down all of them. But I just found that trying to go down infantry when it's just for that one unit. If you get what I mean, like all of this work for the one unit. But don't get me wrong, if you do get, oh my god, like what does this go? Is it 10% just on this one skill? I mean, the amount of
Yeah.
no wonder these infantry are impossible to kill, because if you do have this tree done, absolutely amazing. The officers for infantry are getting so much better, and I'm looking forward to see where it will go.
Yeah, me as well. Now, let's talk about the ATG.
ATG,
Who would
yep.
you run on? Who would you run on an ATG?
It has to be 100% Argent Flame. He's your guy if you have an ATG. Of course, you might want him on your Howie as well, but it's one of those. I think Argent Flame, and honestly, a Golden Eagle, he's absolutely amazing. Again, we are excluding obviously the lounge officers. They are a little bit harder to get. So just on the sort of the free to play ones, I think Argent Flame, potentially Vox, but it wouldn't be my first option. I don't rate this guy too much, Maestro. If I'm personally honest with you, he wouldn't be in my top 3 picks, even though he is more or less designed for the ATG, I'd say. But even though it says that he's good at being in the field, and ATG is primarily a base defense unit, so I must say personally, for me, it has to be Argent Flame, the go-to, because of the you got the obviously the garrison damage of 35, and then just with him being able to, with a Golden Eagle being able to just deal all of this extra damage. You've got the base damage resist as well, which is going to be helping you from Eagle. Your main attack does a lot more. You also ignore damage resist. Like, overall, I think Eagle and Argent Flame are going to be the two most powerful combination for free-to-play players on an ATG. What about you?
Well, I've said this 1,000 times. The most valuable officer in the game is Golden Eagle. But for
100%.
me, I agree. I agree with your pairing. Before Maestro came out, I 100% quoted this pairing you said in a different video with Argent Flame and Golden Eagle. But I would go with Maestro, and let me
You would.
explain why.
Who would you swap out for
Yes,
Maestro, though?
I would swap out Golden Eagle.
Okay.
I would, and let me explain why. Maestro actually does an AOE attack. It's with that staining effect and the fire damage. AOE is king. The problem with base defense, right? You need to have all your garrison troops, right? Attacking, right? But they're all attacking one target. So the more targets you hit, the more damage you do. The more damage you do, the more troops you kill. So the faster you kill the troops, the better. That's where this kicks off, all right? So I'd rather put Golden Eagle where he's going to benefit more and keep Maestro in the fixture, where I run a helicopter, I'd put actually Valkyrie, Golden Eagle on there, then Maestro and Argent Flame on the ATG, just to do that AOE damage to quickly kill those units. And if I could, I would still go for Red Heat, even after that video, for just the AOE damage, and I would put her on my howitzer with Saber of the Nation.
See,
Just to,
I was excluding officer lounge officers. Obviously, she's an officer lounge officer, so
yeah,
I was definitely trying not to. I mean, I personally think on an ATG, he's going to be one of your best options still, Saber of the Nation, because not only does he get his skill off, you know, he can get his skill off, you know, almost on every attack. It's possible. You know, you could hit that 30% on every attack he does. So not only are you doing an insane amount of damage, but he is based to destroying units. And when someone's tanking you, I find... So you know what you said about that AoE? AoE is definitely a helpful thing, but the amount of damage you do to today's AoE, it's a decent amount, but it's not the same as hitting that first raw target. Would you agree?
I agree. I 100% agree, and that's why I wanted to keep Golden Eagle on my heli, because
Agreed.
you gotta admit that once, like 9 out of 10 times, if it isn't an infantry tanking your base, it's
Yes.
gonna be a MBT or a helicopter, like you said. So that extra armor damage on my helicopter will definitely help. And then also with Argent Flame there and Maestro, that's going to help me right there.
Yeah.
Now, if it's infantry, then I'm completely reliant on my howitzer to take that thing out.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And so my theory is, now I don't know if you'd agree with me, but AoE is nice. But the way I see it is the quicker I kill that first unit, the quicker all of my other units can lock onto other things. So at that point, I could get more, like the quicker I kill that one unit. So sure, the AoE helps, but the quicker that one unit drops, the quicker I could end up locking onto all the artillery. You don't know, but again, you could lock onto something else. But the way I see it is, the quicker that first unit dies, the quicker you're going to potentially get more kills.
No, I agree
In
with you
my
on that.
personal opinion. But again, the AoE is definitely a good contender for it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to. It's like I said, I got to first awaken these officers to fully experience it.
Yeah.
And then I may adjust. But right now we're looking at it on paper.
Let's hope that Lilith don't do this, but why don't we just, have Eagle on every unit,
Yeah, it works well. He's a versatile officer.
I said this to Mag before, and I'm going to repeat myself again. I do not know how Golden Eagle is not an exclusive lounge officer. I genuinely believe he's so strong, he should be an exclusive lounge officer. If there's one officer you should tell anyone to awaken, is this guy. Am I right or not?
You are 100% right. You are 100% right. I mean, Golden Eagle carries it all. I mean, he's literally carrying the free-to-play players on his back.
I'm not
Okay?
being funny. I think in every single pairing we've mentioned tonight, he has came up as being your favorite for every single unit. Even the infantry, you said you'd like him on.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
So he is good on every, like, when you think of versatile officers, nothing screams any more versatile than this guy. He's him. He's him.
That's it. That's the model. That's the one you gotta. Lilith, this is the one you gotta base it off of. Give the guy who designed this guy a raise.
For sure.
Anyway, we gotta get back on track. We went way off, but it was perfect. It was funny. RL unit, what would you run on that?
Rocket launcher?
Yeah, for me, I would run Antonina as Saber of the Nation, or Antonina and Eye of Providence. because I want that extra map grid, and if I'm using an RL, I'm going to be targeting bases mostly because of that sweet fortification coefficient that
Yeah.
it's attributed to the RL.
I mean, although the rocket launcher has more fortification damage than a Howie, it actually has 50% more fortification damage than what the Liberty Howie has. I still find it's a little lackluster when attacking bases. Um, it it's it needs to be buffed, but don't get me wrong, the rocket launcher is still an amazing unit. Now, you said obviously you mentioned before a couple. Definitely, you're gonna have to go with Liberty if you have her. But Antonina's definitely going to be that second option if you don't have, you know, the pay to win. I don't want to call it pay to win. It's pay to speed up. There we go. If you don't have
Yeah.
that pay to speed up and to get Lady Liberty fast, then 100% agree with you. Antonina, you need her because she has the map grid, and on top of that, believe it or not, War Machine's a good option because he does increase the load speed, and of course he also offers the extra 10% here once his skill goes off. Now, obviously, and that's what, 2 seconds is it to attack with, or is it's always 2 seconds when you initiate your first shot? But I'm not
So then it goes to
sure.
6.
And then it goes to 6. But once you have him, if you have him on, doesn't it not go to 4 or something after that? Like if you have him on your unit, he's a pretty good officer to get, I think, as a versatile officer. He's very.
Yeah, he is very good. He is very good, but I don't think he drops down to 4. Because there's a way to. The reason why I say that is because I've never tested it. But for one, there's a quick method to get that 2-second reload time again, and that's just move.
Yeah.
You just move 1 grid, and then you're right back at it.
Yeah. So
And
But it's not even 1 grid, actually. I don't know. A lot of people think you have to move an entire grid, but if you're selected on a unit and you just go click, click, so you literally initiate the momentum. So the moment you click, you can instantly re-engage on a unit, and it actually instantly restarts that 2 seconds. You don't have to wait for it to move. A lot of people think you got to wait for it to move, then re-engage. But you can literally go click, click on a unit, and it will instantly redo the 2 seconds. And it's kind of broken, if I'm honest with you. That's the only good thing about the rocket launcher.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. And yeah, I was saying move 1 grid because I didn't know how to describe it right.
Yes, no, so
but
yeah, the easiest way to explain.
You nailed it right on the head. Now, I think the only unit we actually have left now to discuss, is the
Bombers?
SH and the bombers.
Yeah.
Now the SH.
It's a shame.
I don't recommend it I don't recommend it to anyone. It's a base to base unit. It's only. I wouldn't use it in field fighting. I wouldn't use it for base to base. I wouldn't even use it in base for base defense, even though it can be used. But if you're gonna run that pairing, I would run it with Svalin and Thorn Countess, just for the face shield and also the extra survivability. That's
100%.
who I would run it with. That's it. Because Valen is tailored to the SH unit, and Thorn Countess is just an awesome officer for defense. That's where I would run that.
So on paper, you'd think Svalin and Steel would be better. Like on paper, she provides more, but for some reason, in the field fight, this works better. It does work better with Thorn. 100% agree with you. So I can't even try and give you a better option. If you're gonna have a super heavy, you're gonna want to have Svalin and Thorn Countess just to do if a lot of people are always like, oh, why don't you add damage to it and it might do good? No, if you have a unit that's designed for being a tank, you build it to be a tank. It's the same way if you have a light tank, you build it for speed, you build it for raw firepower, like fast fire and damage. You don't build something to not do what it's designed for.
Exactly. And Svalin, his awakening skill is direct related with the SH. That's what makes him so potent on the SH. But, the SH is my least favorite unit in the game. I have to say that.
It used to be my favorite until he got it's just not it can't compete anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now for bombers,
Ooh, out
there's
of
only
my
one
realm.
pairing I would run on there's only one pairing I would run. There's only one. Now everyone swears to God that Rising Star and Golden Pixie are S tier. I can say that about Rising Star, but not Golden Pixie. The reason why is because fighter planes. You do not want to be up in the air too damn long before that fighter plane approaches. So you want to be in and out of combat. So the one I would actually choose here is actually El Cartero and Inferno. These two synergize so well, it's ridiculous. They're good. They'll be good for bombing bases. They'll be good for bombing troops. They'll be good for on the Martyr. They'll be good on the Vanguard and the Liberty. I can't. I that they're the only ones that make sense to me.
Um,
That's it.
Now the only difference I would say is El Cartero. Agreed. I think El Cartero is better than Inferno.
Oh,
Okay,
100%, hundred
but
percent.
I do think Rising Star is better than Inferno. Now, don't get me wrong, Inferno, he does a little bit of damage. 450, it don't seem like a lot, you know? But of course, he has a 20% increase in power. His burn damage, extra 40%. That's nice. But in theory, the burn damage itself is a weak. It's a weak attack, right? Don't get me wrong, it's
Yeah.
nice to have that little treacle at the end to finish someone off, but the burn itself isn't strong. So sure, you're adding 40%, you're adding 40% to something small. So what's better? 20% damage across the whole unit, whether it be skill damage, whether it be normal the bomb itself damage, or this damage buff is an increase to every part of damage. Whereas this is only a burn damage buff, which means it only increases the burn part. And the burn part is a weak part of the skill, in my personal opinion. Um,
No, you're absolutely right, but I'll take it. But here's why. It's his fourth.
his
It's
last one,
Inferno's fourth skill.
this here.
Yep, his fourth skill. Well, no, the fourth skill, his defensive skill.
Yep.
That skill right there protects you from the ATG, the light tanks. That's super useful. And then if you also add Heaven Saviors, I believe it's second skill on Heaven Savior. I'm not 100% sure. He protects you from bases. So if you put that on there with that, and you're bombing bases or you're bombing troops, and you're going in between these bases and you're going through ATGs, this is going to help. And that's why I
It
chose
it won't
Inferno.
help with this won't help with an ACG. It will only help with the base itself. But I
Yeah, yeah.
100% agree with you. It is a strong content. So it all depends on how you want to play. Obviously, what it comes down to. But what I find is if you're getting 1,000, you're getting double the damage coefficient, right? With this,
Mm-hmm.
you said it yourself. You want to be in and out quick. You've got the bombing in.
Yes.
You've got this here, 20% extra reduction in that time. You're getting a lot more damage, so you're getting over double the amount of damage, 20% quicker. Okay. You then obviously have that damage resist, but you've also dealing damage, so you've got that perfect balance right there. On top of that,
Yeah, you're right.
you have more speed, um, more firepower, which means again more damage. But then even more, you're actually dealing. Once you awaken him, you're not doing just 1,000. You're doing 1,700. That is
Yeah, that's true.
4 times stronger than Inferno. And as you said yourself, like getting in and out and doing as much damage as quick as possible, you're dealing 4 times the amount of damage with him. Now, because you've got the skill training system, if you need extra protection, you could always attach this onto one of your officers. You can pair that on. Or if you want to do that extra damage, you could even add on the 20% extra damage. And I find mixed with Cartero, you do still need Cartero. He obviously immobilizes
Yeah.
people. He does a good amount of coefficient. He adds on 22% damage. Again, it is only to the tanks and helicopters, but that's still an important unit to be using it on. He offers a bit of HP.
Yeah.
He offers that speed as well, and then finally, when doing the fire, as I said, look, the damage coefficient of fire is only 100. So that's why I personally think 100 coefficient, I'm only getting 40%, so I'm doing 140 coefficient. That's nothing compared to 1,700 mixed with an extra 20%. Does that make sense? So for me, I'd
Yeah,
have to
no, that makes
100%
100%
go with
sense.
Rising Star mixed in with El Cartero, and then just draw those additional skills. And it could even be that you draw in this damage resist to keep yourself alive while you're making those in between passing.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right there. This is why you collaborate with people, because
Yeah,
they can open up your eyes to things that you do not see.
yeah.
And that is a very good point right there that you just made.
I was kind of enhancing on your own words where you said you don't want to be in the air too long, and it these two just stick out for that entirely. Like they're built for speed and just pure outraging power, and they're amazing. And believe it or not,
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt to say this. This is an exclusive lounge officer, and both of these officers are better than the exclusive lounge. I mean, he's good.
Yes.
He is good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, if you have him, you're good. You're gonna get a load of kills. But is he worth the money? Like, if he was a
No, he
free
is not.
officer, he would definitely be. He's definitely better. I said that I did just say that these are better than him. Let's be honest. Rictus is that he's a little bit better, but is he what around $3,000 better? No.
Well, here's why he's not better. I'm gonna explain it. So there was some testing done, and Rictus Reaper, for his tactical skill to work, he has to drop his final bomb.
Yes.
That's the drawback. That's why he sucks.
If he gets
Because
that
you're not.
last bomb off, though, you're guaranteed kills.
That's the. Yeah. If he gets it off, you're guaranteed kills. But until then, you're hoping to God
Mhm.
your bomber survives. And that's where it's not worth it for me.
100%
You
agree
know,
with you. Yeah.
unless you got complete air superiority, Rictus Reaper ain't worth it.
100%. I mean, yeah, he's good, but he just for the amount you have to pay for him, you're better off getting Lady Liberty.
Exactly. I'd rather take the broken red heat.
Yeah, yeah, true. But it's not just Red Heat; it's all of them. It's Professor Payne as
Yeah.
well. I would definitely rather take a
Yep.
ground officer from the exclusive lounge if I was gonna go for any.
Uh, I would go for Darkwing. Darkwing.
Oh, we never spoke
Darkwing.
about
Yeah.
Darkwing because we was kind of staying away from exclusive lounges, but you
Yeah.
have to talk about them when doing an officer video, because they are
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
They are, and Darkwing is definitely worth it if you're going to invest in it. Like once I finish Saber, I'm actually going to go and start investing free to play wise into Darkwing because there's just not enough fighter plane officers in
Mm.
the game. So that's why I'm going that route. If not, I would be going for Lady Liberty because Lady Liberty, she's just a juggernaut, absolute beast. Why not?
Like 100%, I agree. Like this is he. I'm close to saying he's broken. He's probably like in the field of units. Like if you look at all of the ground force units, you look at all the air force units in their own little area. So I don't mean obviously you can't pair Lady Liberty against how good is Lady Liberty compared to how good is Darkwind. They don't contend against each other. So in their own little field, 100% Darkwind is the most powerful officer on the game when it comes to fighting other officers.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. Now, friends, fans, and followers and commanders, thank you everyone for being here. We do this for you guys. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for supporting my channel, and I encourage you guys to go check out Scopes channel, which is going to be in the description down below. His channel's name is More Scopes. Please check out also his Call of Duty channel. He's awesome on that stick, man. So we got your 6. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and say goodbyes, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. It was a bit of a long one, but of course, we just want to provide you with the best and most up-to-date information as possible. So thank you so much. Hope you all have an absolutely amazing new year ahead of you, and feel free to message us down below.
Peace.